Hi, a review today on the Mercator K55K folding knife. It's a classic design, German made. It's one of the older locking knives you can get. You'll see the lock bar engaged there as I open it and close it. And snap into place. And it is now a very soundly locked knife, aided by you keeping your finger on the back of that lock, so it's definitely not going anywhere during use. C75 carbon steel has similar properties as far as I can tell to the Opinel steel, so it'll stain up a bit, it'll hold an edge very well, it's fully flat ground, so it's a great slicer, and it's a good light use knife, light use knife steel as well. You wouldn't want to take it too far away from your maintenance tools though, because as I said, it'll stain. It's a single piece of steel for the handle, folded over with a groove cut out for the lock. It's then powder coated with a bail put between, and there's a plastic spacer at the end. I use paracord as my retention method because, unlike modern knives, these classics very rarely have pocket clips. In fact, they never do, because pocket clips were made in the 80s, I think. And I don't think anything in the 80s would quite yet be called a, well no, that's wrong, but a heritage knife like this wouldn't have a pocket clip. There's definitely classic knives from the 80s, but not heritage knives like this one. The K55K has a story behind it. I'd watched Stephen Schmollhouse's video on that one. He knows all about it. It's a bit of an interesting story. It's got Mercator Germany written on embossed into the back there. Very nicely done. See that? And there we go. Very simple knife. 3.5 inch blade, 4.5 inch handle, 5 inch handle perhaps. Total length about 8 inches or 8.5 inches. It weighs about 2.8 grams, which is about the same as my other everyday carry knife, the Mercator C33. What is this knife for? It's for light everyday carry use. This isn't a good beater knife. I wouldn't trust this lock implicitly, just because it's got a couple of rough spots in it. Sometimes it doesn't engage fully, sometimes you need to push it down a little bit in the end. The blade shape itself, very good blade shape for food prep, and the flat ground is great for slicing, but I wouldn't be using this to poke and pry and do all the rougher stuff that I do use my Mercator for. So why get a knife like this? Because of the history and because of the rarity of it. Well, not rarity, but you're different, you know. There's a lot of knives that look exactly like this, these black handled, polymer handled, whatever, with thumb studs, and you know, lots of knives exactly like this. They're all very similar too. Soulless, very practical, but they don't really have their own story. You get a knife like this because they've got their own history and lore, and you know, there's stories about people coming home from the war with them, and all the street toughs carrying them in the 50s, and all that sort of thing. That really does add some appeal to it, definitely. But again, you do sacrifice things like pocket clips, thumb studs, liner locks, polymer handles, ergonomics, things like that. You do sacrifice a little bit. Not that it's not an uncomfortable knife to use, it's just the modern knives will have more creature comforts, so to speak. But I'd get both. It's nice to have a choice. I'll carry either this or a Victorinox Cadet if I'm going somewhere a bit more posh, where I'm less likely to use my knife. But I'll carry this one every other day when I'm more likely to use my knife, and I don't really mind about damaging this one because it's just not that special to me. It's just my knife. Very good knife, but inexpensive. You know, made in a batch of 1,000,000, and yeah, there's no great love for it just yet. So yeah, classic knife, Mercator K55K will set you back about $40. And I recommend getting one. It's better than the Higanakami because it's not as dangerous. Better than the Opinel because it doesn't have the lock always jamming up when the wood swells, when it's cold or hot or whatever. And probably the best out of all these classic knives that I've been looking at lately. Highly recommend. Thanks for watching. See you later.